All right, here we go, folks. New season is here, ready to go. Hey, check out this new intro. I'm sure you're gonna love it. All right, let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Point of No Return, the Babylon 5 Retrospective. Welcome, welcome. This week, we're starting off Season 3 with a bang. It's Matters of Honor, the first episode of Season 3. Oh, Cam, are you excited? Oh, wait, you're not allowed to talk until I introduce you. All right. Sorry. Welcome. Before we get right into it, let me welcome my co-host, the man who is, I guess he's my Delin. Yeah. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, Babylon 5 fans.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Cam. All right. Welcome, everyone. We got a lot of people in the chat. Looks like good start off. Oh, it says 9 people. We're just coming in. Takes time. I see James. I see Dave in the chat. PB is here to derail us. We will not be derailed. Yeah, all right. Snuggy Jr. is in. Hey, good to see you. All right. And there's a couple lurkers, I guess. It says we got 9. So, yeah, that's awesome. Cam, is there anything you want to mention before we get into the show? Or should we dive right in?
Nah, well, yeah, you can just, on the Sci-Fi Snob channel, you can check out the Advent calendar openings for if you're into the tools. So check that out in the shorts section.
One every day, and it'll be, the next one's going to be going off in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, if we don't
it's going to.
If we don't get at least 100 views, I'm going to quit.
Oh, get those views up, people. Get those views up. All right. Hey, hello. Hey, Snugs. How's it going? Good to see you. All right. Let's bring in our, I don't know if Jason's going to be joining us, but Jeff, of course, will be joining us as usual. And Madman is our special guest. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Evening. Did you like your, Jeff, did you like your new picture?
It looks like the old picture.
What's that?
It looks just like the old picture.
No, it doesn't. It's a new one you sent me. Jeez, you don't even remember.
Well, let me rewind.
All that work for nothing. Oh, all right. Whatever.
Woo, Wendy Testaverde.
All right. Gentlemen, I think we should just jump right into it, eh? Like, shall we? No wasting time. Agree?
Agree.
Yeah.
All right. We don't have any trivia answers. We do have trivia questions at the end of this show, of course. But we don't have any trivia, so I guess
that was better. Okay.
We just jump right into it. Yeah, and do it. Cam, do you want to do our? We'll do the usual. Do our quick intro, and I'll do the big one.
Yep. So obviously, season 3, episode 1, episode 45 overall, Matters of Honor, written by J. Michael Straczynski. Original air date, November 6th, 1995, and production code 301. So right in order. And the Babylon 5 crew is presented with a new weapon with which to fight the growing shadow threat. An official from Earth Force comes to the station to investigate Lieutenant Keffer's recording.
I wonder what that new weapon could be.
Yes, what it could be.
We'll find out.
I don't know.
All right, let's jump into it. Matter of honor. So the show starts off with Sheridan questioning Kosh, and he is doing his usual enigmatic answers. We see some kind of human escapes from some planet, and he barely escapes. He heads off to Babylon 5, even lowering the energy output of his ship in order to get there. So what's going to happen? We don't know. Then we get the opening sequence, of course, with Ivanova reading it instead of the captain, as usual. That's an interesting twist, but kind of foreshadowed with her reading at the end of the last episode. At the end, the last of episode 22, she was reading off a thing, so kind of hinted at that. So I see sort of three things going on. I wouldn't know if I call them. Well, Campbell's fine what they are, but three separate threads. I'll go with the shortest one. There's a thread with Londo telling Morton that he wants to end their relationship. Later on, he meets Morton to wrap it up. They split up the galaxy, and Morton mentions that he's been talking to Rifa. We can maybe more. Londo's getting
the boot
locked out, so to speak.
Yeah.
We also have Mr. Endawi from Earth Force. He comes in and he's got Keffer's gun and the camera footage that we saw in the last episode. He's trying to find out what the shadow ships are. He talks to Delin about the ship. She says she doesn't know anything about it. She denies, but of course, she's never seen a shadow ship either, which is an interesting point because
she did not lie. Minbari don't lie.
Yeah, and no one's actually ever seen a shadow ship except for Keffer at this point. Before this, the Endawi, he meets with Londo. He's going to meet with all the ambassadors, but he meets with Londo. Londo says he saw that ship in a dream, and they blotted out the sun as they flew by him.
Well, they did show the footage, so that
Yeah, that was interesting. And again, Londo has never seen one of these ships. He doesn't know what they look like. These little helps. And Dawi also he talks to everybody. He also Garibaldi gets him to talk to Jakar, even though he sort of says, "Oh, I shouldn't do it. We're not supposed to," but he does anyway. And Jakar tells him about the Book of Jaquan and how the ship, 1,000 years ago, that whole stuff, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
And Dawi is mad at Sheridan because he disappears. I don't know why he's mad that Sheridan goes off. He doesn't need him for anything, but he's mad anyway. Sheridan and Ivanova, along with Delin, lie to Indawi where they were. And we see we cut to Earth Dome, some senator getting the report from Indawi. Also, Morden, and then he leaves, and then Morden and a Psycop come in, and they talk about, quote, speeding up the program at home and some stuff, which I'm sure will...
Hey, Snob, we were right.
Yeah, there's something going on. All right, and what I saw is the main thing. We've got the new guy in the opening credits, whose name is Cole, and he is the human who is escaping from this planet. He gets onto the station. He goes into med lab. He seems to be unconscious. Then Franklin turns his back on him and he disappears. Franklin's not a very good doctor. He can't even keep his patients in the med
right?
lab. Anyway, then we have Lanier showing up. He's got a stone. He takes it to Lynn and shows it to her. And she's like, obviously knows what the stone is, which we don't. She then meets Cole in the bar, and we find out he's basically a ranger. I call him Aragorn. Aragorn
does kind of
Lynn's
look
help.
like Aragorn.
He looks like him. He dresses like him. Everything.
Yeah.
Sorry to correct
needs
this.
the help.
His name is Marcus, to be exact.
Marcus Cole. Yeah.
Marcus Cole.
Yeah, he'll probably be gone in an episode.
Well, he's in the opening, so I think he'll be there.
I don't.
Anyway, they take off to go somewhere to discuss something with Delin, and they get ambushed by some thugs, and they beat the crap out of them. Eventually, all the various the faction, sorry, not factions, I guess factions of Light, all the people who are involved in Light, they all meet together. Ivanova is called in. Sheridan is sweating a little bit because he's like, "Oh, I didn't tell you everything. I should tell you everything now." But apparently, Ivanova knows everything. Marcus
we'll
Cole,
talk about that.
yeah, Marcus Cole gives the details, saying that, hey, there's this Ranger base on Zagros 7. We're training, and it's been blockaded by the Centauri for the last 2 weeks, and we need you to help get them out. And Sheridan agrees, but he's like, I don't have anything to get them out with. I don't know what I can do. And they tell him, don't worry, we got something for you. So this is when they disappear from Ivanova, and Sheridan disappear from the station. They get into a shuttle. They go off the RV with a new Minbari ship, which Jeff is delighted to show us there. It is a mix of Minbari and Vorlon technology, smaller and faster. No one, it doesn't quite look like anything that anybody has.
Bigger than a Starfighter.
They get on the ship and they head to save the Rangers. Cole and Ivanova have a little heart-to-heart moment. Is there romance in the air? I don't know. They arrive at Zagreb 7. They shoot down some of these mines, which are keeping the Rangers stuck there. Shadow ship arrives. They are able to get let the Rangers escape, but the Shadow ship is chasing Sheridan and their ship. He pulls a sneaky maneuver similar to the Black Star incident. He uses the jump gate to destroy the Shadow ship by
destroying
another jump gate, firing their jump engines in the gate or something, which is not supposed to do apparently. And he destroys the Shadow ship. I think he did. There was a big explosion. We assume it's
bonehead maneuver.
The bonehead maneuver.
We
can talk about that. And then the show ends off with Sheridan having a war council. Franklin has a bit of a bug up his butt during that council, and Delin explains who the Shadows are to the council and the audience, if you didn't know. And that's sort of the quick summary of the show.
I mean, there is a tangential thing, but we'll get into that.
Timu Aragon, yeah. Cam, I'll turn it to you.
Okay, well, let's talk about the main storylines. Obviously, we have the whole White Star thing and the big, the reveal there and everything surrounding it. We have related to that, of course, is the arrival of Marcus. The interaction. So, I mean, it's really well. Okay, the two strong storylines are the Marcus White Star storyline, and then the Earth Force Intelligence guy.
Yeah.
And then we've got kind of these little tangents, with Kosh.
Morden,
and such.
Morden and
that's true. Yeah, that you're right. That's a pretty strong...
Morden is both on Babylon 5, and then he's back on Earthdom. So
yes, that's actually a very I think a very interesting reveal. Might we want to start with that?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that. I mean,
no, wait. Mr. Morden, let's put it this way. Mr. Morden's on Earth. Let's be blunt. The Shadows are on Earth.
Yes.
At this point.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which those of us that haven't seen the show have speculated. I think we did that in the wrap up episode. We theorized that, or at least I did. I know that what if they're actually working with or the Psi Corps, which of course we see Psychop. We saw somebody from Psi Corps there. The woman that was there. Now you Snob, you said she was a senator.
Yeah, he calls her. That's because Indawi calls her senators.
Played by
yes, Senator.
Swink.
Is she a senator?
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
That's what he called her.
Okay.
So I assume she's a senator.
Yeah, Jeff, you're right. This does kind of open up a lot of possibilities based on what you were speculating, or
Yeah.
Well, I always assumed they were there anyway. I assume that the lines are already drawn. It's good versus evil, light versus dark, whatever you want to call it, and that anyone opposing Sheridan is probably being manipulated by the forces of darkness, being the Centauri, and then the other side, whatever other side that is involved on Earth Dome. I'm just assuming the president, Psychor, at least those guys, right? Versus Sheridan and General Haig. That's what I assume.
We did not see Bester though. It was somebody else, somebody new.
Yeah, it was some
that
other.
We saw.
Okay, so what exactly did we see? We saw that Morden, Londo's like, yeah, I'm done with you, and Morden's kind of like, and then they have their little discussion.
We've
which we
danced our last dance. I think
we have danced
right
our last little dance.
And
so he thinks, I'm sure.
Yeah, Londo is very pleased with himself in this and thinks that he's got that going. But immediately we find out, oh well, I'll just deal with Rifa instead. Which took Londo by surprise.
Hold on. What? I want to mention that he already dealt with Rifa.
Yes,
because they said that the place has been blocked for 2 weeks.
It was blockaded.
Yeah. And he talked to Rifa about that. So Morden's already done an end around.
He kind of knew. I think he knew that Londo was having.
Yeah, he did it 2 weeks ago.
Thoughts,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
Londo's already was on his way out 2 weeks ago. He didn't even know it.
But then we also see, meaning, but what that's portraying is there are things weaving around through the through the Centauri, for example, that they don't necessarily, they're not all working together. They don't know what's going on. And the same thing then was revealed with Earth. The intelligence guy didn't know anything about this. He was presumably doing his job straight up and wasn't aware of the shadows. And obviously then this cabal with Morden and the senator and the Psychop are keeping that from him, and presumably others as well.
Yeah. Well, and in that speculation, I think I even went so far as to say it makes you wonder if maybe with I can't remember his name, but taking Delen's seat on the Great Council. Now the warrior cast having the extra strength there. Yeah, they have 4 members now on the council of 9, right? And that kind of was my belief that is a possibility. It was kind of reinforced with the whole, and we'll talk about the White Star. But the crew that's on board the White Star is all the religious cast, not warrior cast. So because they're some that do not share their vision or whatever, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, because they're probably in with the shadow, So
you think some of the Minbari are compromised as well?
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think it's a possibility for sure.
Yeah. Well, we've seen Earth and Centauri are both factionalized, right? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff about Earth and the different factions going on there, but in terms of the shadows, we've now seen.
Hold on, I don't think Centauri are factionalized. They're factionalized within each themselves, but they're not.
Yeah, but the shadow is messing with all these. I think the different core, the power core races in
everything isn't as clear as it might have seemed before.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to bring Jason in.
Okay.
Hey.
Jason, welcome.
Welcome to the party.
Hi.
You like my new ship?
Yeah.
Fancy.
We're just getting started. We're just getting started, Jason, and we're talking about the Morden Shadow Earth connections.
Yeah, and maybe if there's some Minbari compromised as well. That's
Jeff's speculating it wasn't actually in the episode.
No. But there was stuff in there that kind of reinforced that speculation.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's if we're seeing a pattern here, it's like, well,
if you can't trust the people of any members of the warrior cast on this new ship, You know.
Well, right.
Well,
We don't.
remember
There's nobody
the
speaking
warrior
English.
cast.
So,
Go ahead.
as nobody's speaking English, so how do you know?
Well, that's true. That's true. But we do know that
Remember,
Dylan is there, and um,
Lanier.
and Millennier are, and so and we know that they're part of the Warriors of Light or whatever you want to call it.
Remember, they don't trust Delenn anymore, and they still have it in for Sheridan being Star Killer.
Mhm.
That hasn't been forgotten.
Speaking of that, isn't there a little bit of irony? Didn't he kill the Black Star?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
I noticed that right away.
And now he's the captain of the White Star.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, right out of the box, right? What's the first thing he does with it? Defeats a ship that no one has defeated before.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a great line in there, and I think Jason would agree with me. This brings up Kirk. It is I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
Oh no,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what went through my head too. Kobayashi.
Well,
And
you
Delenn,
mean when?
Yeah, go ahead, Cam.
I was gonna say when Delenn says, she's like, "Oh, we can't do this." And he's like, "Frankly, I've been here before. No offense."
With all due
I've
respect,
heard that before.
with all due respect.
Although
Do
that could have
that
been
shit up.
that could have been played for a little bit of irony or humor, depending on how you want to look at it. Because when he sits there and says, "I've been here before," I was killing your ship. But we don't have an indicator of that in that scene. So
Well,
it's a missed opportunity.
I mean, did that not come across to you that that's what he was referring to?
Well, I mean, you have to be paying attention, or you miss it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, if this is your first episode, you obviously don't get that reference, but
Yeah.
it was a clear reference. That and the irony of this being the White Star. Come on.
So, what do you guys think about? I mean, were you shocked to see that Morden was like, "Oh, okay, sure, I'll let you go," kind of over,
There's
at least that's what he's
always
saying.
a price. There's always a price.
Yeah,
to pay.
I mean, I wasn't shocked at all because
Nope.
my assumption was that he wasn't going to let him go anyway.
Yeah.
Now, if you notice, as he walked away in the Zocalo, the shadows were there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You heard the little
Skittering.
Oh, I
So
didn't notice.
they're always with him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're always with him, but you hear that little chirp, and they're like,
Agree
they
on that.
told him something, and that's when he turned around and says, "We got a little last business we have to take care of, and then will you go away?"
For as long as you like.
Well, and I think the other thing too is, Morden has probably expected this conversation for a while, because there's been pieces of it before. When Malaria is like, "Do we really need to do this? I don't think I need you anymore." Morden's always talking him into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's probably, they've anticipated the point where, okay, the war is over, then what happens? Well, it's likely that Londo's going to decide that he doesn't need us anymore. So in that particular case, what are we going to do? So they've gamed out several scenarios, I'm sure. So when Londo does sit there and say, "It's time for us to part ways," the key element there, I think, for Morden was trying to get a handle on Londo's emotional state at that point, because there's a couple of different ways it could play. Londo could be arrogant enough and full of himself enough, "Well, we don't need you anymore," or it's, we don't need the fallout if anybody finds out we've got you. And
he was pretty
depending
arrogant.
on how it plays, I mean, our war is over. We don't need you anymore. But I think there's also a little bit of fear behind that, where he's like, I already know I'm in over my head.
Yeah. Well,
It's time to cut bait.
And I think this kind of ties in, and I hate to jump around, but so many different things crisscross in here.
Mhm.
When the intelligence guy, Mr. What's his name? Mindawi, whatever.
Mm.
At any rate, when he is talking to Londo, and Londo recounts he sees the ship, and then he talks about this dream of his.
Yeah.
Do you think at that point he made the connection? It kind of seemed to me like he maybe realized that, now, oh crap, that's who these people are.
He probably recognizes the ship, but maybe not the significance of it. I think if I'm writing this, I want that realization to set in after a conversation with Jakar. Because that's when Jakar can sit there and go, one, I told you so. And two, these are the people that helped you betray my people. And there's the knife.
Yeah.
And I'm anticipating, I want that scene so Londo really understands just how deep in the weeds he is.
Yeah.
Did you what did you guys think about the fact that Londo was like extremely candid about that? It's like, he's like, it's like, oh yeah, here yes, I absolutely, I had this dream about it. It's like he didn't hold anything back there.
Well, and I don't think the investigator realized the importance of a dream to the Centauri.
Right.
Because we as the audience, we do recognize that, oh shit, he saw this in a dream. He's known about this stuff. And what if maybe it was kind of maybe a self-fulfilling prophecy? Maybe that's why he wanted to bring back the Centauri as a strong people, so that that day wouldn't happen, not realizing that he opened the door to it and invited it in.
Well,
okay.
Yeah. Now let me make one thing before we go any further. The David Ngwawi is played by Tucker Smallwood. Now, if you're not familiar with that name, he's been on Space Above and Beyond, Star Trek Voyager, and he played one of the main Xindi in Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I think it's obvious that Ndawi does not place any significance on when he goes back and he's talking. When he's talking to he's like, oh, here's my report. Oh, I got a little bit of, weird religious and dream stuff, but, that's just crazy talk. Right? He doesn't put any stock in anything that Jakar or Londo said to him.
He's only there to gather the evidence. That's all he's doing.
Londo,
he doesn't consider that evidence.
Except the thing about it is, Londo does not indicate that his dream, and we don't get anything in the dialogue that hints at. Now we know, like you said, we know that the dreams are generally a Centauri's way of forecasting the future. There's a little precognition there,
right?
But there's nothing in the dialogue that Londo tells Mabawi.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, by the way, I had a dream about these things. By the way, our dreams are precognitive. I saw the future, and it was full of these ships.
Well, and I don't
key piece he left out.
I don't think Ndawi would necessarily.
He may not believe it.
He's a very analytical person like that. I think when that information was presented to, ultimately we find out Mr. Morden was present. That it does mean a lot more that the Psychor person obviously knows that is something that the Centauri are, I'm sure they're well aware that's kind of their own psionic, inherent psionic type ability that's maybe latent.
There's two aspects to that to me. Either that, this guy is a high up intelligence operative, it appears to be, and he doesn't know this about the Centauri, that it's either, he's stupid or Earth is stupid, or they're so arrogant that they don't really care about anything about the other races that we should know that Centauri are precognitive, or that the Jaquan's religious book and how much they put to it.
There's another possibility there that the Centauri don't tell anybody about it. Remember how the Vulcans are about Ponfar. There are societal taboos, whether they're religious driven, whether they're faith driven or it's just, the social mores of the time, whatever the civilization deems as acceptable or not. We're not going to talk about it outside the bedroom, any of those things. So it's entirely possible that the Centauri have taken this and kept it contained and
but
not
Londo,
know about it.
Londo has discussed it though before. Londo has mentioned his
season 1,
but he's
on
discussed
Babylon
it on Babylon 5 with Babylon 5 people.
Yeah, but that gets put in reports and stuff.
I mean, it was they were in the docking area, or whatever you want to call it, the processing area.
His aunt or that woman, I forget who she was. She was freaking out.
Yeah. Oh my God, because she saw
remember, throughout season 2, Londo has been given warnings to certain points. I mean, first, you had the Technomage who told him, it's like, I see a hand reaching out into the stars. I hear all these people calling your name and says, "Is this my followers?" No, but you're victims. And then you have the dream on the main attack where, he's seeing far into the future. There's all of that's been going on and his death on top of that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys. So it's kind of ironic because, again, supposedly the intelligence guy is there to uncover information about this, and as it turns out, he was sent there to see how much they could deny. Right? It's like, can we keep this secret?
I don't think he knows that though.
He didn't know.
He doesn't know that.
He didn't know that.
But they know that.
Yeah, the conspirators did.
Yeah.
And of course, then the Psychop kind of brought in things like, well, what if we do tell people about this as a means of intimidation or threats or manipulation of some sort? Which and even Morden was impressed with that. Morden's like, that's a good idea.
I like you people.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty standard tactic. Over-engineer a threat so that you can then put the screws to people.
But
we gotta do with this more taxes.
Didn't Mabawi even indicate while he was on the station? He's like, we need to know how we spent. I need information. The reason I'm here, I need to get information so we know how to spend this at home. Didn't he acknowledge that at some point?
He did tell them. He said that they had kind of let on that they knew more than they did.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we got this, no problem, don't worry.
Yeah, typical government. We're gonna say we know everything that we know everything that's going on. Don't worry about it. We got this covered. And they kind of downplayed it.
They're spinning it as we know who the race is, and that basically there's no threat.
Right, and they did pull the footage though off of ISN, which is interesting that they would be able to do that, considering. I guess they threatened them with hey, this is
Well, so the upshot is
property or something.
Yes, the upshot of this is, as far as the Babylon 5 crew, the War Council or the conspiracy or whatever you want to call it, the good guys, they pulled off what they planned to pull off, which was to obscure what they knew about it, right? And obviously Delenn was obfuscating the whole thing, and so in terms of what they gave the intelligence officer, they did succeed at that. But then again, I like this reveal. It's like, oh, but they already know, it's like they think that they're ahead of the game and they're hiding something, but really their enemies already know about it. And
Morden has been tricked.
Delenn did not lie. She has not seen one of these ships.
Yeah.
Sheridan did, because he has. Did he? Has he not? Did he not see one of these ships?
I think he.
I believe he did.
When did he see? No, I don't think he's seen that. I mean, he saw Keffer's footage, but I don't think he's seen the ship before that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Well, his friend, the other captain, did, and he described it to him. Did they see it on that one when they rescued the explorer ship?
I thought that.
So.
I think
no, there was one. Keffer saw it there.
No, the Keffer's commanding officer saw it before he died.
He got killed, but isn't that where Keffer got on the whole track of it?
He did. That's where he got on the track.
Yeah, but Sheridan also told Keffer to drop it because he knew what that ship was.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that he's seen it.
I think he has seen it. I think he has.
I don't think he saw it.
Sure, he has.
Okay. Well, in any case, they successfully hit it on their side, but it's not hidden. And so I'm skipping a little bit to the War Council thing here, and it's the War Council is just kind of a continuation of their other grouping, their
Right,
secret stuff, but or a subgroup of it. And so before it's like, oh, okay, these Babylon 5 guys, they're part of this conspiracy doing this, but now it's like, oh, there's all kinds of other conspiracies going on too, though. There's these, this obviously we just had this reveal. It's like, oh crap, Morden is deep in with them already. This clearly wasn't their first meeting,
right.
And it's like, so again, to me, this was done very well. That it's like, oh, you think that the good guys are kind of, it's they're working behind the scenes and they know what's up and everything. It's like, no, they don't know crap. It's like, it makes the threat loom larger.
The question is, at what point did Morden go there? Because when we first encountered Morden, this hasn't been used in a long time. Remember his, and so. If he had gone to Earthdome like he did like he was there, and he used that identification, clearly it would, So he obviously hadn't gone before he had been to Babylon 5. At least logically speaking, chronologically he couldn't have unless.
Not necessarily.
There's always a way to smuggle people in. I mean, on railroad on Babylon 5.
I think
if I'm the president and I've got a conspiracy and I'm sneaking people into the White House, I'm not. They're not going. They're not signing in.
Okay. Just as a side note, I guess you didn't probably mean this, but we have no idea if the president is involved with Morden.
No. I'm just using that.
We only suspect he did. Yeah.
Right?
But
if I'm the president, I'm sneaking my girlfriend into the White House. I'm not making. She's not signing in, right?
Yeah, I think that was kind of a flaw in the writing. It's like. They wanted to give you a hook to figure out who Morden was. So the whole series of events with Sheridan and Garibaldi tracking him down and everything could happen. In reality, with the resources we now know he has, it would be child's play for him to get some other kind of fake ID, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So it doesn't really make sense, but it's just,
Maybe I'm focusing in on a technicality. I guess.
No, I've been saying for weeks, how deep does this go in Earth? What's been going on back home on Earth? How deep does it go? And, we're seeing Psychor there. We're seeing Mr. Morden. We're seeing a senator. I mean, how deep in Psychor is it going to? How deep in the politicians?
We've been saying this is. That's how the shadows that's how I suspect the shadows are working. They're working. They've got their fingers on all in the Centauri, in the Minbari, in the Earthdome. I can see them trying to keep them fighting, and the whole advantage of course of them going and pushing this combat against the Narns. Is because the Narns are the one people that have records of, the shadows from 1,000 years ago that they have handy, written records,
Yeah. Madman, to your point is we don't know. It could be that senator and that psychop, and that's it for all we know. I mean, is that likely? No.
I'm assuming that the shadows had something to do with the assassination of the old president, but whether the new president knew about it or not, we don't know, but I assume he's more amenable to whatever the shadows want, which is why they would do that anyway.
You can go ahead.
I was going to say, so from the impression that was laid upon me on this is that this guy, this psychop, was higher up than Bester.
We don't know that.
We don't know that, but that's the impression that I've gotten.
We don't know that.
Previously I figured Bester was running the show. And now I'm wondering if Bester's not running the show. Bester's got Bester's own stuff going on. He's out after his own interests, and
I have
Bester could be higher up. This guy could just be the liaison guy, right?
I have a feeling that Bester's storyline is going to play out a little bit surprising to everybody who hasn't seen the show yet.
Yeah, maybe.
And I haven't seen the show.
He may not be the ultimate bad guy
because I haven't seen it either. So
yeah, he may not be the ultimate bad guy that we think he is, even though he's certainly not a heroic figure, but he might be anti-heroic, possibly. You know.
Mhm.
Okay. How about since it is tied in, Jeff, you talked a little bit about him talking to the other ambassadors and stuff, and we know we didn't see him talk to anybody but Delenn Sheridan's group,
Londo.
Londo and Jakar, but he mentioned that he talked to other ones like the Drazi and such. We already discussed Londo, so then maybe we need to talk a little bit more about the discussion with Jakar. What I found interesting is, Jakar, and what did he say? He's like, finally, it's like someone's finally going to listen to me. This thing that he started talking about at the beginning of season 2. A little late maybe, but you guys had some different takes on what you think he believed about what Jakar told him. Again, Jakar just kind of laid it out very straightforward too.
Yes, I've seen this before.
Yep. And he told him, here's the story. There's Jaquan, and
it's been copied, meticulously by scribes for they've detailed line by line. I think he goes into Jakar speaking Jakar the way he does.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll be ultimately it's another letdown for him.
Yeah.
I think the investigator, I still can't remember his name, and I wrote it down. But
Indawi.
Yeah. I'll never remember it. I wonder if I think he's just. I hate to use the term useful idiot, but at this point, I think that's what he is. Question is, will we ever see this guy again, or is he a one-off character?
Well, it's funny that, I mean, Garibaldi was talking about, I don't tell myself, the whole runaround thing there. And you saw, him kind of working behind the scene. And I think that guy was kind of like, yeah, I get it, but in reality, what you just said is, well, this guy was kind of in the dark too. He really didn't know why he was there and what he was being told and why.
He said, go investigate this and see what people on Babylon 5 know. And talk to the ambassadors.
Well, you can compare Mr. Indawi to Robert Picard from Stargate 1, Mr. Woolsey, and his role to the situation, the NDI, group that basically, they sent him out to investigate.
Yeah.
And the investigation is basically not really so much an investigation of, fact finding. It's let's find out what everybody knows, and then we figure out what we do with that from there.
I don't think he knows that, though. I think he actually is trying to find the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
And it's his superiors.
Well, because the senator was like, "Oh, thanks. This is just what we need," and it's like, "Ooh, shoo, glad, good."
And then after he left, okay, they don't know anything.
Well, no, you hear Mr. Morton. He brushes off the Narn.
Right,
says,
right.
No, we don't have to worry about them, really.
I mean, it's a brush off for him. He's like, okay, well, we've already dealt with the Narn because that's, under the guise of the Centauri Narn War.
And Dowie is not part of the conspiracy. It's obvious because they send him off at the very end, and they say, "Hey, I told you guys not to come in here. You could have been seen." Right meaning in Dowie, because he just leaves. So
right,
he just left. So he's obviously not part of it.
Yeah. So the last little bit of this, and I'm just covering the bases. I didn't find it particularly important, but that when they went on the little White Star trip, that they hid this from him, and he in Dawe, and he noted it. It was like, yeah, where he picked up on it. He was sharp enough to be like, yeah, what were you doing? Kind of thing. And then
Garibaldi told him. He says, "Well, I don't know what they did, and I could, if I tell myself, I wouldn't trust myself."
Right, but then he questioned them specific. when they arrived, when they got back, meaning he questioned Sheridan and Ivanova and Delenn.
Yeah.
And they they quickly concocted a cover story, which was a lie. I will note.
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah.
So she's half human now. She can do half
human now.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Well, I mean, they were they were helping. It was a discreet.
No, she didn't lie. She exaggerated.
She stretched the truth
That's
maybe because
Vulcan.
there was a Minbari ambassador on there.
That's true. Okay, so what, do you guys want to go to the White Star story now?
Oh,
Well, let's start out with Marcus, I guess.
Gotcha.
Did we lost Jason? I mean, we
No,
lost
I'm here.
Jeff,
out there.
hold on. All right. I
Okay.
don't know what happened.
You're
He's
back?
back though.
Okay, let's talk about Marcus. So we see, as you mentioned, that they're on, I forget the name of the planet, whatever, 7,
Jaguar 7.
which appears to be a gas giant. So not sure what's
Can't
going
be.
on there
Can't
exactly,
be a
but
gas giant.
well, okay, whatever it is.
It's very green and it's got a ring like Saturn.
Yes. At the beginning, we see this blockade running thing with the Drazi, which is kind of like the Drazi, and then we see not yet introduced Marcus escaping, and then the Drazi dying. And then, of course, he comes to Babylon 5, and, this is where it comes to the White Star. But I found that very interesting. And then later we get the reveal that, well, why are they there? Obviously, Marcus is a ranger, and he's acting mysterious and everything. And Delenn and the thing that I found about it interesting was it's like, he contacted Lanier by giving him his brooch. But then, it's like they didn't quite pick up. I mean, I guess they picked up on it that it's a ranger, but it's like, well, why not just come to them directly? I didn't understand that exactly.
Didn't they have a pin before?
They did, like we've seen that on the other
Ranger
the first
pins,
Ranger.
when they on Mars and stuff like that.
Yes.
So now they've progressed from a pin to a.
Well, no, it was.
Well, no, it's explained
it was
now.
The same, yeah, but I think it was the same thing, wasn't it, Madman?
Yes, it is the same. It is the same pin. It's just now we get an explanation of what the pin is.
Yeah,
which
what
is
it
basically
represents.
2 characters onto the side, and a sacred fluid in between. And supposedly, when a ranger dies, it sheds tear. It sheds multiple
3 tears. Yeah, water.
Well,
human,
I thought it was blood.
Minbari
It was
Yes,
Minbari
Minbari blood, human blood, and water.
Yeah, and now this is, as you guys remember, the whole mythology with humans and Minbari souls and all that, right?
Right.
And how the Rangers, are in, so this is a little bit.
But this badge pin thing is bigger than any of the rest of them that we've seen so far.
Right. That's what I was getting at because we saw the pins and it seemed a lot bigger to me. And my thought was, well, why did the doctor not recognize the pin if why did he not recognize this guy as a ranger right away? In fact,
actually, it's Garibaldi should have written, not the doctor. Doctor's not familiar with the Rangers yet.
Yes, he is.
No,
not completely.
No, he hasn't been briefed in yet. I don't think.
Yeah,
they were all in that meeting when he brought them all in, right?
Yeah, but he was not completely told about the Rangers.
Wait, was he there? Was he there for the Ranger conversation? I don't remember that.
For this one, in this episode,
this one, yeah, but yes. that happens after Marcus gets to the station.
Right. But Susan was. It's like how Susan, they play it off like Susan knew all this stuff that she shouldn't have known. But I'm like, but she was Garibaldi and Sheridan were all. Sheridan brought them all into this confidence, and the doctor. The
doctor is was not completely in on it yet. Now he is.
Yeah, I don't think he got all the info, but Garibaldi should have. Garibaldi's been running the Rangers.
Yeah,
Garibaldi. Can't you recognize the guy?
Okay. Also, I'm not sure you guys are correct about the pin. The first Ranger guy that showed up, it looks to be pretty much the same as the one Marcus has.
Oh, really? It just looks bigger to me.
Well, whatever.
They weren't really focusing. They were really focusing on the pin early on. Now that
but that was kind of like the mark of the Rangers,
Right. Now we're learning the detail. Now we're in season 3. They didn't want to give too much in season 2. Here we are in season 3. Now they're going to be a little bit more, especially now they've introduced the fighting weapon for the Rangers.
Yeah, the pike, the Minbari pike,
the Minbari pike.
Which can we talk about that fight scene for a second? It was horrible. It was not a good fight scene.
We're being followed. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's some dude there. He kind of looked familiar, like I've seen him in another show playing a thug.
He's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Did you see Marcus throw the pike thing to Delin? Because I see him using it, and then Delin's whacking people with it. I'm like,
yeah, I'm not sure how she got her hands on it.
Yeah,
did I miss something?
The whole scene was badly done,
edited or whatever, something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if that scene added anything, because it would have been more if it had been Agents of Shadow or somebody from Psychor or like Earth Dome Investigations or something like that was kind of like undercover ops that were chasing them. I expected that's what they were when they first get up and follow them. I thought, okay, these might be some sort of intelligence agents
but those guys don't follow them.
There were two of them that left the table after.
But we don't see them. They're not in the fight.
They came in. Yeah, they came in. They came up in the background. They were the ones.
Did they?
They were the backup. They were the backup. And
my mistake.
It was just a dumb fight that was made because they made a dumb decision to meet in a clandestine place that made no sense. The whole thing is stupid. I mean,
no, it's an introduction. Actually, it's an introduction to that down below bar, which is basically, sort of like what is it? In Star Wars, where they're at
the Tom Cruise
cocktail.
The canteen in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's just basically that's what it
cocktail.
is.
Did you see the alien flipping the bottle around like Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Oh, I wrote that down. I'm like, oh, look, there's Flair, bartender Flair. Hey, Jeanette could do that for a while. She used to be able to do that. She had Flair.
Well, and I don't know if anybody caught too. So we've got two new sets. So we've got the new bar, and we've got a new med lab apparently.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of. I mean, it was brief, but they did make a mention of it. They brought it. They shot it. Kind of shouted it out. How you enjoying the new digs? Oh, we're still kind of moving in, getting things, but we're getting things in order. So clearly, I don't know why or what they did, or what.
Well, remember in the last episode there was a lot of damage on Babylon 5.
Yeah,
from
and they were repairing it at the beginning.
No,
maybe they moved into the Marcab area because it's no longer needed.
Yeah. I wanted to mention something on that. I thought overall the visuals are better this season.
Oh, yeah.
Very obvious. In the bar scene with Morden and Londo, there's so much more detail and color with what's going on. Like, actually looks like a place where people would go to as a bar now. As opposed to sort of this,
even the CGI was better. The CGI, it looked less blocky. It looked a lot smoother. So there's been a progression. I don't know if if they were able now to budget in more newer equipment at the time. Newer rendering systems.
You know how it is with computers. I mean, look at my setup here. I've still got stuff that's SD cameras, and I've got a 30-year-old audio mixer board and all of that. So you just accumulate and add to the mix of what you've got.
Yeah.
And probably what's happened here, and this goes to Video Toaster, because Video Toaster came out and it was the brand new Biggie Wow thing, but it couldn't do a whole lot without a lot of power, a lot of computing power.
Right.
And the more Video Toaster got updated, the more capabilities it had, the more, because people started to use it a lot. I mean, everybody was using it. Just about every weather center on a TV station across the globe, across the United States, sat there and said, "Ooh, we can do all sorts of 3D maps. Let's do this."
Yeah, and that knowledge builds upon knowledge.
Yeah, and as Video Toaster gets more money, they have more capabilities. But then also the show buys the stuff, but they are also able now. They're not having to buy brand new from scratch, square one. They're just adding to their capabilities. So every season, they've probably got more computing resources in order to render these effects out.
Right.
And then, of course, you've got the stuff that they've already done, that maybe they go back and tweak it a little bit, but
And
now you've got
re-render it.
brand new, you've got brand new exteriors of the station, new planet stuff. So I think
there was a lot of CG, a lot of
Yeah.
new CGI in this episode.
Yeah,
Well,
and we
also remember we're at the point, the pivotal point. Besides Video Toaster, you had Avid and Media 100s being used in nonlinear editing.
yes,
You were at the beginning of cell shading into a lot of the screens that you're seeing right now. Cell shading is major now on editing. You got DaVinci Resolve that has like one of the best cell shaders right now in the market for editors, and it's so simple to use now today. Back then, it was just starting out, and
I learned nonlinear editing on a Media 100 on a Mac in 96, 97, somewhere in there.
And this is
When we first
95.
got around. Yeah, so we got Media 100, I think, came out in 1996. At least we got our first one, I think, in 96.
Well, it goes back a little further.
Let's get back to the plot here for a second.
Actually, Cam, before we do, I wanted to just we're talking about the visuals. I wanted to sort of finish that up. And I think maybe Jason might have a good put on this. Now, when Morden and Londo are in the bar talking, did you notice the camera angles that they use? They zoom in on the face. I've never seen them use that kind of camera work and stuff. So I think that they're trying something new. Or
they got a second camera.
I was curious as to what your thoughts about, I mean, everyone, but Jason's, kind of knows more about this than the rest of us. But
well, I actually didn't notice any camera movement. Zoom is usually done one of two ways. It's either you're twisting the lens and zooming in, kind of just crank it, or you're physically moving the camera. And
sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. I didn't say that they were zooming in on him, just that they were close-up shots.
Different shots.
Okay.
I never seen before on the show. Like, it was unusual the way that the style that they were using. So
they went from single cam to multicam or something like that. They added more cameras to the.
No, I think it's Straczynski just had time over the summer to write the direction into the screenplay.
Well,
he read a book.
That's also a conversation that the director and the cinematographer have on set. So and a lot of it depends on how much time you've got, because when all of this stuff, when you first get the script, your camera department and your director, your assistant director, your production manager, your line producer, everybody gets together to say, okay, well, what shot, how many scenes do we have? How many of them are days? How many of them are nights? How many of them are exteriors, interior? And they go through all of the stuff as far as the locations and how many pages of the script it's going to be, how many eighth of a pages are they, and they figure all of this out as far as the schedule. And the fact that Straczynski didn't allow for improvisation probably means that they were able to do what's called coverage. You basically shoot the master scene and the wide shot and everything happens. And then you go push in for your medium shots and your close-ups after that. And depending on how much time you've got, once you get the essential have-to shots, then you could go back in and you do some pickup shots for coverage and whatnot. So what they probably have been able to do is, since there's not very much in the way of improv, they can go in and they can figure out, okay, well, we can do this. We do this line in a close-up, this line in a medium shot, and probably do a little bit more camera work for the editors to have. But some of that too is also the editors. It's like, hey, we've got this close-up here. Why don't we put that in there?
Yeah. It could be tweaked on. I know Avid had a way of tweaking certain shots.
Yeah.
On there. That's why it was like
depending on what medium it's shot on. And at this point, still, you're probably still shooting on, like, say, 16 millimeter film, maybe. I don't know what they shot on, because we had just introduced, because Star Wars had just introduced shooting digitally. You have to remember too, Hollywood was in the middle of this big technology transition, and I think it was Attack of the Clones, the second prequel movie that was shot completely digital. It was the first one, and everybody thought George Lucas was crazy to do it. You're not going to get the same kind of picture resolution. You're not going to get the same, the quality of the image is going to be, how can you shoot it on a video camera? And so that was what, 90. We're mid 90s there.
This is 95 now.
Yeah,
that
so
was
it's the same kind of thing. So you're starting to trickle down, but still at that time, a lot of these shows is shooting on like 16 millimeter film. Some of them were shooting on 35. And then you have the film transfer into a digital file that you edit in, Media 100 or Avid or wherever. So, that gives them, but see, that also limits the resources. We don't have all this film that we could shoot 12 different versions of this scene. So your planning has to be very, very, very specific and very careful in order to get all of the shots that you need. I had a thing, it happened to me. I shot a feature film, a romantic comedy. Go through it. We shot it in 7 days. I got all of this stuff, all of this footage I'm editing. And as I'm editing this one particular scene, I realized that I have one shot missing. I have my actress says a line, but I don't have any shot of her actually saying the line on a camera. So I had to go back with her to the location where we shot this and set up the whole thing all over again for one line.
Yeah.
Because I missed it. And she had changed her hair color at that point.
Oh.
So what I ended up having to do for this 2-second shot, fortunately, she never moved. And her hair was such that all I had to do was mask it and change the color. So I had to color correct her hair. It was just a massive amount of work. This is the kind of thing that takes you over budget. So when you're in there, your assistant director or your production manager, depending on how big your crew is, they've got a shot list. As okay, here's the wide shot, here's the medium shot, here's the close up on Delenn, here's the close up on Sheridan, here's the medium shot on this 2 shot, here's this thing, here's this over the shoulder shot, and they're checking these things off to make sure that we got all of the coverage. And then after that, okay, this scene is done. We go to lunch. We go set up for the next scene. They don't have the time and the luxury to just do and let's just shoot however much they do. So for them to have those options, they've planned for it. And now you're in season 3. They're probably looking at it to go, we could do X and so and X and so, because now we know more what we're doing.
All right. Well,
now
Cam was trying to get us back on track. And
you just went. You scrolled.
My fault. So I'll go back to Cam. Well, first of all, PB, whatever your question is, put it in the chat. We'll look at it for sure. Cam, get us back on.
Okay, so basically, Marcus's introduction in this episode is what takes us into the introduction of the White Star, right? It's
right.
To rescue, he tells us that there's a ranger camp on the Drazi world and why that is, and not just on Mimbar as we were previously told. And so then that's why they go to get the White Star. And then there's quite a bit of exposition about the White Star, that it's Vorlon technology. And related to what you guys were talking about, the cell shading and everything, is the White Star kind of has some of that Vorlon look to it, but does. It's far better, obviously, than the pilot, let's say, in terms of quality, like you were mentioning. But within the story, they tell us about, it's got the gravity and it's faster than any ship.
Yeah, they're kind of talking about the details of the ship when they're walking through. It's a walk and talk info dump.
Right. And okay, so then, I'll let you guys talk. What do you think about, so then, they plan this rescue mission, which is basically just breaking the blockade and allowing them to get out. So what do you guys
thought? That's what they thought.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
They didn't. They didn't
they
know.
get there, and it's just the mines is all that's
Right. Well,
left.
because what happened is during Morden's discussion with Londo, it was like, yeah, pull your ships out of here.
He already told
Um,
Rifa to take care of it.
right. So exactly, they didn't know what they were walking into. But we, with the audience, saw that something was going to be up there. Anyway, so what do you guys think of that? The introduction of the White Star, the battle, Sheridan's tactical maneuvers, all this stuff.
Well, one important thing you should bring across that basically, as far as the Rangers goes, we know at this point it's not only human and it's not only Minbari, it's that there are other races now working together.
Yeah.
As Rangers on there because
good point.
When Marcus was introduced, you had a Drazi who helped him escape.
Right, and this is a Drazi world. So so yes, they are also, their side is also, we're seeing more pieces being put on the board, right? On all sides.
Purple or green?
That's over. That's over.
Well, and it brings up the question: how many governments are part of that, as opposed to just people on? Because if you've got a Ranger training base, I mean,
it was a remote world, though.
Sure, it's a remote world, but somebody who's running that world has got to know that it's there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good question. Because
you look at the Middle East as an example, you look at all of these terrorist training camps that are in places like Iran and Egypt and Saudi Arabia and wherever else. They're there because the government allows them to be there,
or looks the other way.
Looks the other way, at least. Yeah. So
okay,
I'm thinking there's something here similar to that.
But let's look at our examples with the Shadow side. We've seen that they have definite inroads to high up government officials, right? And in this one so far, on the side of Light, what do we have? We have Sheridan and company. That is, I mean, he's a government. He's a military guy with Earth, but we know that he's opposed to whatever conspiracies going on with Earth. We know that Delenn is kind of on the outs with the main part of her. So what we've seen so far is these are kind of they're factions of all these worlds, but we have at least two examples that they're not tied in with the leadership.
Certainly, yeah. I don't know about the Drazi. The Drazi maybe, but the Drazi are also one of the races that's being threatened by the Centauri expansion.
Well, true, but and also though, we know that Delenn and Kosh have told us that they're trying to keep quiet. They're trying to keep things under wraps.
Yeah, because how many times did Delenn sit there and say, "We're not ready for this. We're not ready for this. We're not ready for this."
Well,
Sheridan's like, "Well, tough bounce."
The Rangers could be operating on the Drazi planet as under the guise of, we're here to help you in a resistance against the Centauri expansion.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Advisors.
We know. Yeah, they're kind of little green beret like, maybe, in that sense. But we know that they're a clandestine organization. Overall, they're not like a powerful military force. They're like scouts or Rangers. Yeah. So, but I think I really love the Ranger bit, and I like seeing a little bit more in there. Now we saw last season Kefir. Oh, look, Kefir, he's a main cast character, opening credits, right? And we see the same with Marcus. It's like, well, I hope that JMS wasn't forced to have a bearded, accented guy, because he'll just piss all over him too.
Well. So JMS wrote this entire season.
Yeah.
I watched on this first DVD. There is like a little special talking about. I think it's titled the same as the whole season is titled. But they make it a point to say that JMS wrote the entire season, all 22 episodes, and whoever it was that was from the company that produced it, right? Or whatever, said
Warner Brothers.
Well, I forget what the gentleman's name was. I don't know if he worked specifically for Warner Brothers or whatever, an AOL company, by the way. It said that on the DVD, and I lost it when it said an AOL company.
Well, AOL used to own Time Warner.
Right. It's, yeah, because it had the Warner Brothers logo on there. It says Time Warner, an AOL company,
Yep.
and I'm like, well, what happened to AOL? God, um, but at any rate, I just this guy said, yeah, this is like the first time in history. Now, of course, we hear that all the time nowadays. That the same writer has written the entire season.
Yeah.
One writer has written the whole season. All 22 episodes.
Well, and even now, you have like somebody like Taylor Sheridan, for example, who's written all of the episodes of all of his shows for the most part. It's still 10 episodes is not 22.
Right.
You
Right.
know, that's a feat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're also at an apex too, right? Because we know that there's 5 seasons of this, so we're now in the 3rd season. So we've got to be at that if not at the peak, we're approaching that peak. So that could explain a lot of things. And he wanted to. He knew that. He said, I've got to be able to make sure that this goes exactly the right way.
Okay, so go.
Hold on just a second. Sorry, Cam. Cam brought up Keffer. I would just like to, if we could just have a
moment of
30 seconds
silence.
of silence for Keffer.
Okay.
Hold on, everyone, please.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Keffer.
Well, that was
All right. Thank you.
That was a Culturian minute, wasn't it?
That was a little long.
I'm surprised you didn't show his face melting.
Couldn't find a pic.
Okay, so nobody wants to talk about the whole blockade running and stuff. I mean, this is a pretty exciting scene, in my opinion.
It's a great scene, especially with the White Star. And this is the reason why that JMS didn't want to go with the pilot and the Star Furies and all that, because he knew he was bringing the White Stars into play. These things are maneuverable. I mean, did you see when the shadow ship fired its first shot and it missed, and it just it dove downward in an angle. It just flipped to the point. I mean, this thing is heavy maneuverable, fast, and it's a good fighting ship. And this is what JMS wanted. He wanted the USS Defiant. That's what he wanted.
Right. Yeah. And it does. I mean, clearly we're seeing. They explain it. Of course, Sheridan's like, I can't wait to tear this ship apart and find out everything how it works.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could see he was really like, it's like I'm back I'm commanding a ship again,
and it's his ship,
right? Yeah, they basically said this is for you. But so the setup is, they're trying to destroy the blockade, the mines essentially, and while trying to not be killed by a ship that doesn't miss, supposedly, right? Now they mentioned it's like, they said it doesn't miss, and then they quickly are like, oh, they're trying to feel us out. They don't know what we are, and they're trying to do that. And we had been told that. Well, okay, so that whole thing where they're running around doing that, I thought that was cool because it was like a video game kind of thing. It's okay, you got to deal with this while you're trying to accomplish your actual mission, which was cool. But so that kind of resolved itself pretty quickly. That we saw the Ranger ships escape. They were they talked about that they were ready to go. They were basically waiting to blast off as soon as it was clear.
But they also played it off like. The reason maybe that why they missed is because it was a ship they weren't familiar with, and since they didn't know the make of this ship, they were maybe deliberately missed.
Yeah, no, they did make that point.
They did make that point. Because and then they pursued. They said, "Well, actually, that's great because we'll take them with us.
Mhm.
They'll follow us and ignore the Rangers, that they were sent
Right.
there to destroy."
But also remember, it's part Volon based.
Right.
So the
Yes,
the technology is a little bit higher than the standard Minbari fighting ship.
Yes,
Well,
I get that, but
it's
they don't
possible-
know this configuration. They don't know this ship, and it's got. That doesn't necessarily mean that they know that it's Vorlon or Minbari. They're not. I think they're not sure what it is at this point. The Shadows. I mean.
Well, at some point, and we wouldn't know this without getting inside the shadow ships. But at some point, somebody probably looks at the scan of the White Star and says, "Hey, this engine signature looks like a Vorlon ship," and they go, "Well, that doesn't look like a Vorlon design. That piece there, that bridge tower is a Minbari off of a Minbari class ship. What's and yeah, there's going to be a lot of confusion." But eventually, I think that they would be intelligent enough to figure out this is it's like in Star Trek, the Enterprise incident that when they stole the cloaking device.
Yeah.
Right? They cross the neutral zone, and ship comes out of cloak, and you get Scotty. You get the camera pushes out on Scotty. He goes, "That's a Klingon ship."
Yeah.
Because the Romulans were using Klingon ships.
Right.
And it's the same kind of thing. It's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. That looks like this, and this looks like this, and this scan shows this.
Well,
They'd eventually figured it out.
I think it told us though that the Shadows are absolutely intelligent because they immediately went to find out what this is.
Yeah.
This is something new that we don't know. We need to find out.
Yeah.
Really?
This poses a threat.
I mean, your mission is to destroy these Rangers. Like, shouldn't you stick with your mission? Like, that's the it's like
the bigger threat.
Yeah, I think they.
You think so?
Not necessarily. Well, it's
there
not necessarily a bigger threat, but it's an unknown. It's an unknown quantity, and you have to assess what kind of threat this new ship is. Because this new ship comes in here and it's firing all these weapons and whatnot. Okay, well, clearly this is an adversary for the Shadows.
Yes.
Now we have to figure out, okay, well, do they have what it takes to actually be a problem for us?
Well, and it was undoing the plans that they had Rifa put in place, right?
The White Star
puts that plan in place in order to kill the Rangers, though, right?
Well,
right.
Well, Rifa,
their objective is.
They talked to Rifa, but Morden deliberately had them pull their ships out because obviously the Shadow were going to send their ships in, and it's almost like they don't want the Centauri to see the Shadow ship.
The point is they weren't just mindlessly blowing crap up, though.
They were blowing up the blockade mines. But here's a question here. Did we get? Because I don't remember now. Did what at any point? Because Morden, when they sat there and they're looking at the map, and he's like, "Okay, Londo, you get this part, we get this part." But we also get this planet, which is this one where the Rangers are. He doesn't say why. He doesn't say, it just says we have an interest in this planet. That I don't recall at any point where they sit there and say, well, the Rangers are on this planet, we're going to kill them. Was the blockade specifically to entrap the Rangers?
It's the Drazi. The Drazi, yeah.
The blockade is preventing anyone from escaping that planet.
So what's their interest in the planet? That the Ranger base is not there.
We're assuming it's to kill the Rangers.
We're assuming that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the blockade. I don't think the blockade was necessarily there because of the Rangers. I don't think they knew the Rangers were there.
Right.
I think they were.
Yeah, I think
I don't think.
I think they did.
Man, break the tie.
Remember.
I think the situation is a little bit more to this because they're trying to the shadows are trying to lock in certain parts of the galaxy.
Right.
Okay. Now, fast forward just a little bit when the White Star is being chased by the shadows. What's the next gate that they come out of? Do you know what planetary system?
Yeah, it was the one the Marquette.
The Marquette dead system.
Right.
So the next system beyond that is a dead system. So basically, the shadows are trying to control everything from that point over as far as the Marcaps.
Yeah.
Because it's all dead, and they can just waltz right on in and just put in their own ships on there. It's
Okay,
just I think what it is, the Rangers were in their way. They didn't know the Rangers. They knew people were on there, and it was a Drazi world. But the thing about it is that they were in the way of the shadows. Because
I
put
think
it this way.
shadows.
No, hear me out. Put it this way: how many ships did they send?
Just one.
Just one. The last several battles.
That's a shadow ship.
The attacks on the planets, the attacks on the non-cruisers. How many did they send then? They sent the Fleetwood.
I don't
They
think that
sent
matters
about
because
between
okay.
They sent 4 or 5 ships.
Yeah.
After to that point, if they thought that Zagros 7 was a major threat, they would have
sent more ships.
They would have sent more ships.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I disagree. That's not it. It doesn't. You send ships to deal with other ships. The danger of the Rangers is not necessarily a military threat. So I would agree that I can't say yes. My view on this is absolutely supported by this. My reasoning would be that why is this any different from any other Drazi small colony? What's the unique feature? The Rangers are.
Yeah, that's my point too, because they specifically say that. Remember, Marcus Cole says we need you, Sheridan, to come and save us because the Drazi can't do it because they're already busy on these other areas, and this is a very small world. It's unimportant. It's no strategic value, but they're blockading it, right? So that's why he comes to Sheridan for help. So I mean, if for whatever reason, I mean, there's no ships on this planet, and they've got it completely blockaded with just a bunch of mines. So I don't think they're really, I think
there's no major ships. Yeah, there's no.
Oh, there's these little, fighters and some,
right,
and they're not worried about that. So,
but I mean, as far my point was though that the Centauri don't know that the Rangers are there per se. The Centauri, are there because it's Drazi, and this is they're looking at this planet as something else that they can take into their territory.
No, the Centauri are there because Morden has asked Rifa to send some ships and blockade for him.
No, Rifa asked him to pull the ships out.
Well, I think when they were going in for their strike,
when they were going in initially, they had finished them off. He sends Rifa 2 weeks before. He says, "Hey, Rifa, go and blockade this place." They go in, they put the mines in, and then Morden comes back and he says, "Okay, now I want you to pull your ships out that are enforcing the blockade. Leave the mines there, and don't worry about it." Because he's going to send in his guy to do whatever it is he wants to do, which I assume is kill all the Rangers. But
yeah, the Shadows definitely were wanting to. They perceive the Rangers as a threat.
PB agrees with me for once. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the Shadows intended on destroying.
Yeah,
I don't think the Centauri knew that the Rangers existed. Even
no, I don't think the Centauri did.
No, they don't. They don't. But that doesn't matter.
They're kept it literally in the dark, in the shadows.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. See, the thing is, I don't think there's any it's mentioned in the show that this planet is of little to no strategic value. And the lines are when Morden draws the lines on the map, this planet seems to be significantly on the other side of the line. So I don't know why the Shadows would, why would they draw a line and say, "Hey, this is ours and this is yours," and now, but yet, I think the only reason he wants that is because of the Rangers. But
it's kind of it's a border area. It's kind of an S that you see running through the galaxy.
Yeah, but this planet was interior.
It was on the Centauri side of where that line was drawn, but it was really close to the border. So
okay.
Well, except this one planet that we have an interest in. Everything else you on this side of the line you can have, and that's fine. that's carving stuff up.
So the upshot is they succeed at their mission, and then now they have a chase. Now the shadow ship's on them, full speed ahead. For whatever reason, they now prioritize the ship, and then we get the whole thing where they're like, "Oh, open a jump." Sheridan says, "Go to the jump gate there." Well, why don't we just open our own? And he's like, "I don't want to give away. I don't want them to know that, right?" Real smart art of war kind of stuff here.
Yeah.
Not complex.
Don't
but,
reveal your hand. Don't show your hand.
Right.
It's compartmentalization. It's need to know. I will tell you what you need to know in order to do whatever task you need to get done.
So that does beg the question: are they going to keep that in the pocket? Because presuming that this shadow ship was destroyed along with the gate because of this amount of massive energy, is this the type of thing where this ship is now going to use the jump gates normally, and then only as a last resort, or if they have to, or if nobody's around to see them?
Well, I think that it's space is big, right? So I think they could probably get away with it, but
I mean, if you look like you're using the gates and you want to keep that, you would obviously keep on using the gates just to keep that perception up, so you have that in reserve, because presumably, even though they did use this, and it served a second purpose, kind of a throwaway purpose, and he's like, well, I hate pirates and looters, whatever, so destroying the gate served a perfect purpose.
Right. I thought that was cool that they brought that up, again. And it was like, well, why are you going to do it there? Well, because it's worthless, or not worth as much, at least. But, and of course, him not telling them is what allowed him to spring something that they couldn't have even guessed at. Not that you would have necessarily.
Yeah.
And then, again, it's showing, the story is showing off the ship and what it can do and everything. And it also gives us a chance to see Sheridan flex his tactical muscles.
Yeah. They opened a dimension door inside of a portable hole.
What do you guys think about
killer?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Good one, Jeff. We should bring that up on the other show. But what do you guys think about that, about the thing with Sheridan and the fact that the Minbari, all these Minbari that generally probably wouldn't trust Sheridan are taking orders from him, as they did.
Well, interesting, and I think these are the true believers that share Delen's belief. I think I think it's interesting and fascinating that they have the non-warrior cast manning the White Star. That's basically the crew, and I presume at some point we will have other crew from different races. It's probably going to be a multi. You don't think so?
Why would the Minbari want some other morons messing with their ship, especially when they know what they're doing and they built it?
Technically, is this a Minbari ship?
Well, it's Sheridan's ship.
I mean, it's Minbari
made it. They built it.
Well, did they build it, or did the Vorlons build it, or was
Lynn
it?
Says they built it.
Junction.
The religious cast built the ships.
Yeah, and she says that a lot of the people who are manning the ship are ones that helped build it and design it. Everything.
That's true. Yeah. So they would know but I mean, presumably there are going to be others. I could see that the crew not all being Minbari.
Yeah, it's
already not. It's already not. There's they've got Susan and Sheridan and
Susan and Sheridan.
It's kind of like the Rangers ship, or the Army of Light ship.
Yeah. At some point, maybe Jakar will join them on this. I could see that.
On a 3-hour tour.
Yes.
I think, I mean, this is their ability to get, to do missions for Sheridan to go out. Very similar to what, the Dominion,
get off the station.
Yeah.
So are they parking this on Babylon 5?
That's my question. Where are they going to hide this thing?
No, they left it. I think they parked it back where they got it.
Where they got it,
because they jump to it and then they do the thing, and then they come back because we see the shuttle, and the Minbari ship come back into the station's dock.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do that for a while until the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. Yeah. And once the cat's out of the bag, is the ship of a size that it could dock at in Babylon 5, or would it have to dock near it?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
I don't know.
It's obviously
size
smaller. It's
wise.
not a, it's a.
It is a smaller ship.
It's not a cruiser. It's a
battle wagon.
Smaller than that.
Yeah, it's what is it? I guess, But
so, okay, and nobody. What do you guys think about Sheridan's big maneuvers? Is he impressive or?
Yeah, I think Delenn kind of questioned it, but it's
the no-win scenario.
Yeah, it's like
the no-win scenario.
Yeah.
I have to mention that again. I'm sorry because that's practically how it sounded.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Delenn? Delenn was kind of panicked, or very concerned. Let's say
she's showing her human side a bit.
Yeah.
No, I think that as she's got the Minbari logic there too, though.
No, look at Lanier when the shadows showed up. Look at Lanier and the others. They looked up and they almost looked almost in terror when the shadow ship showed up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Sheridan's like, "Oh, good. Let's take this baby out and put her to the test."
It was an interesting contrast, wasn't it? It's like the Minbari are like, "Uh-oh," and Sheridan a little cocky, right? It's like, but that's that's the Earth. That's what Earth is. The humans are. It's like, we'll take on that challenge.
Again, these are the religious cast too. So because it's the religious cast, that may have a lot to do with why they acted that way, as opposed to having the bravado like Sheridan did.
Well,
because I think somebody from a warrior cast may have had the bravado.
I made that assumption too.
But I mean, they specifically address this with Lanier's reaction because he's like, oh my, I've never experienced something like this before.
Yes, I need to submit a report suggesting the training or something like that.
To change the training.
And when he mentioned that, I was assuming it was the sort of adrenaline rush that has to do with being in combat like that. But
yeah, maybe
I assume that. But
I don't know. I've never been in combat.
Yeah, I agree with PB on this one. I thought it was destroyer escort, that kind of smaller fighting ship. Corvette, yeah, that's what kind of
Corvette, maybe.
Yeah, that kind of
Corvettes in the U.S. military would be like super tiny ships, like really weak, I think.
Yeah, it depends on.
But yeah, a support ship,
smaller,
I mean, I agree with BB.
Smaller than an Earth destroyer, I guess, right? Like what? Using now.
Yeah, yes, destroyers are pretty powerful, but in today's Navy, I think they're not insignificant. Which the White Star also is not insignificant.
Small.
There's two or three of the Yellow Jacket. No, not Yellow Jacket. There's I lost my thought. Never mind.
Cam, do you have something, or I have a question that I was
go ahead.
It's not related to this. This is okay. So I think that Londo is on his way out with this Centauri. Riva is taken over.
Mm-hmm.
He's found out about the shadows, or at least about this. He's going to take it to himself. Londo's out in the sticks in Babylon 5. Rifa's running the show back. I think he's gonna push Londo out.
Well, it went around, didn't it? It was like, Londo, I don't need you anymore. And then Morden's like, oh, well, I'll go to Rifa. And Rifa's like, I don't need you anymore.
Morden's like, no, I already went to Rifa.
Right.
Yeah. So I think Londo's on his way out. So I'm assuming the storyline is going to be, whatever his come to Jesus moment is that's coming up. Part of it's going to be the fact that he's realizing that he's on his way out. And I don't think Londo is not Londo's an operator, but he's not a great, operator like that in the Centauri world, because if he was, he would have been stuck on Babylon 5 at the beginning of the show anyway. So he's not, he might be okay, but he's not Rifa level, right?
Well,
so I think he's being pushed out, and Rifa's like, hey, I can run the show.
To your point,
I don't really need you anymore.
Well, to a point, remember at this point, there is an emperor, there is a world court. How much power does Rifa have over the world court and the Emperor, because the Royal Court and the Emperor run concurrent, but they kind of sort of like almost separate. Like the Royal Court is a council, and basically, and then you have the Emperor.
Yeah, and well, okay, and what happens when you have an entity, a political entity that gets rid of their external enemy, essentially has beaten their big enemy, the Narn. Well, then they start power brokering, backstabbing and jockeying for who's going to be in charge, right? And so that's, again, I think you're right about that. That's what's happening behind the scenes.
I mean, Jason was talking about, a scene with, in the future, perhaps with Londo and Jakar. And I think, I'm hoping to see that as well. But I'm thinking that the fact that Londo is going to sort of start realizing that he's on the outs is going to be, another factor in that scene, or in his journey, wherever it is going.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
I didn't mean to stop the discussion.
No, that's fine. That's a good point. So Marcus and Ivanova had a brief scene where they started to discuss some stuff. Well, and Marcus told about how he joined the Rangers, basically. That his brother was a part of it and he wasn't. And he worked on a mining colony, and then everyone there was killed. And then he picked up his brother's mission. Let's see. I don't know that we have a whole lot. I think we've talked about almost everything except the bit with the War Council, where he kind of brings them together, and where Franklin is kind of asks, can you fill me in on this? And Ivanova basically says, "Yeah, I know everything already."
If there's anything that doesn't go on, I don't know about, worry.
Well, Delenn does go and start to explain that when they're in this War Council, first of all, Sheridan says there's a lack of information can kill you. I strongly believe that, right? And there, everybody, anyone here is going to be free to say whatever they want to say, be able to say, that's a little different, I think, than some councils might be, like that, where, there's maybe a small cabal of leadership among a council that kind of guides and directs, and then requests advice from. In this case, I think he wants everybody to be able to speak freely and express their different ideas. And one of the first things that they do to try and bring everybody together and get them the information, Dylan goes and explains about, that the Shadow apparently are the first beings, the first of the ancients, the oldest of the ancients.
They've been around for billions of years.
I think she said
billions of years older than the other.
They're one of the earlier races.
I think she said that this was the last remaining ancient race, if I remember right, but I might have that wrong.
No, I think that's more about the Vorlons, I think. But the Shadows were like one of the first races, is the way she indicated it.
Yeah, and was the last remaining one, as I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the Vorlons.
They've been around longer than the Vorlons.
Right. That was the indication, and because I found that kind of odd. I'm like, well, haven't the Vorlons been around just as long as them? But I guess not.
Could I mention the elephant in the room on this from earlier on? And I don't know if you guys realized.
I was going to say that we're about to wrap up, so maybe any last big points anybody wants to bring up. Madman, sounds like
I think we had a little bit of the courtship of Eddie's father at the beginning of this episode between Sheridan and Kosh. Because let's put it this way. How many times have we seen throughout season 2, season 1, and even in the movie that Kosh carried a complete conversation with anyone?
That's probably the longest conversation I've seen them have.
Yeah, and he showed a little personality even.
Yeah, I really hate it when you do that. Good. It's like, he still does those typical Vorlon answers to the questions that anyone would ask the Vorlons, and
but he does it. He
but
does
it was
in the sense with
it was a
more of
conversation, a back and
a
forth,
conversation,
not a
and
one,
then almost hysterically moves. Yeah, sure, yeah.
not a one-off, and then he leaves. Right? Normally, it's one word answer and he leaves.
Yeah,
It's a
but in this case,
conversation
they
back and
actually have
forth.
a true conversation, because they discuss about his, all these people saw different things, but apparently that in and of itself took something from Kosh a little bit. Is that? Did you get that feeling? Like,
Well, he said that.
like it may have drained him a
It
little
drained
bit.
him.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's coming out of his suit and flying around and all.
Well,
that stuff
he
is
said
the draining
everyone
part.
seeing him
Yeah,
drained him.
Yeah,
but
yeah, because they
that
all
could
saw
just
something
mean-
different.
yeah. Well, but it could just mean coming out of his suit that drained him. I mean,
But also the
but it could
important
mean that he
line. Yeah, go ahead.
could mean that he had to put an illusion up to all these different people to see. I mean, that could be that as well.
But the
Yeah,
important line to remember is what he said, and he says, where Sheridan goes, "How do I know that you're the same Volon that is in that encounter suit every time you guys you leave and come back?" He says, "I've always been here," and he tells Sheridan that he's also that he has always been there. So there's something going on at
Yeah,
this
it's a
point.
little bit
What is it?
cryptic.
What is
Yeah,
very cryptic? And what does Kosh
That's a little.
mean by
That's
that?
a little mysterious. I take that was one of those little breadcrumbs for the future.
Yeah.
That was another funny.
too.
It's like, yeah, you told me that too, and he's like, yes, yeah, I did. What of it?
I did tell you that.
Yes. Still gives them one-word answers, but there was a lot more to that.
Yeah, but they had a psychic. Remember, back episode cover, they had a psychic link up when he was trapped aboard that ship, and basically he was having those when he was resting, he was having those dreams. And it was like Kosh was in his mind.
Yeah.
And later on, Kosh told him, he says, you were, I was able to hear you.
Yes. You've always been here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more mystery, kind of to keep you going about, gee, what's going to happen here? What kind of connection does Kosh and Sheridan share? They obviously share some sort of connection that hasn't been fully revealed yet, and I think Kosh saving him was just part of that. I don't think that's the true connection. That I think more will be revealed.
All right. If no one else has any big stuff, Cam, you want to go towards summing up the show?
Yeah. I think we're ready to do that.
All right. You want to start with Jason? Last thoughts on the show? If you want to give it a rating?
Oh well, you're probably 7.5, 8 out of 10, 8.5. I mean, the fight scene takes away a lot from it because it was kind of dumb. Because it looked like they left the same way they got there. And I got turned around a little bit. I was like, okay, that was there just to introduce this new fancy weapon of his
stick.
The bow staff or whatever, the stick, this thing. And it also isn't this first time we've seen Delenn fight hand to hand?
Yeah. And Lanier, have we seen Lanier do it? But yeah, we have seen Lanier once.
I don't know. I think
Lanier
threatened people. Yeah, Lanier has threatened quite a few people, but I don't think we've seen the follow through like that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean overall it's a pretty good episode. It's a good first episode for a season, especially given that it's going to start. We introduce a brand new character to the mix of the cast. There are new sets and some new resources, obviously with the production design and stuff going on in the background. But where you have this, stuff setting up with shadows, it does feel like we're finally over the hump and we're moving forward with whatever this main thing involving the show is going to be, because there was a lot of fancy dancing around it all through the second season. It was just kind of out there. So the first season, we established the station and the purpose of the station, whatever. And of course, Sinclair has to leave. We got a new guy with Sheridan. Second season sets up Babylon 5 as a island, basically, and all of this stuff is happening around it. So it's they're in the eye of the storm. Now I think what we're going to get, and I haven't seen past this, but what I think is going to get now is in this season, we're going to start seeing Babylon 5 more central to the conflict that's coming. This is not just as a base of operations, but stuff is going to happen around it. So, but it should be an interesting season, especially since Straczynski wrote all of them.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
Oh, my turn, huh? I was definitely there was definitely a visual improvement. I think Jason touched on a lot of it as well. I noticed graphics, a lot more graphics, a lot better, improved graphics, noticeably improved over the previous two seasons to me, and the set dressings that Jason pointed out, looking more less sparse, less Spartan, more realistic, more lived in. Like you could actually feel that the place was there and not as empty. And that probably goes to budget. Overall, the episode was really good. I'm going to give it an 8.5. It wasn't a perfect episode, but it was definitely good. They could have done more with that scene with the thugs. I think it would have been better, as I said before, if they had maybe been covert ops that were, trying to track down the ranger or something like that. They would have probably fit the story a little better. Just being a couple of thugs that were trying to rob somebody in a seedy bar, they kind of like, really, that trope would have made more sense, I think, if it fit in with the storyline. But it was, you got to see some dork foo, and you got to see some whatever. I think that's the phrase. I forget who said it. I don't know if it was PB or somebody else, or Outpost Nerd or somebody said it. But at any rate, that's what they called it. I think we're gonna run with that. Dork foo from now on.
Yeah. That works.
But yeah, overall, like I said, it was a really good episode. You got to see more, of everything, and I'm looking forward to the season. I mean, we're definitely it was an excellent, first episode for a new season, and even the music, the intro music, not just Ivanova's intro speech, but the whole music was different too.
The title
sequence, yeah, it was completely different. It was more like going
darker.
to a war theme. Yeah, kind of moving into like a war theme, So obviously, I think music sets a lot to the tone as well, more so than people consciously recognize.
Yeah, because if you take Dorothy going off on the Yellow Brick Road and you put Led Zeppelin to it instead of You're Off to See the Wizard, it hits completely different.
Yeah, so that's what I got.
Madman.
Well, I have to agree with the last two gentlemen on this. A lot of changes and stuff like that, but also want to bring up to the perspective, besides all the technical, all that. The character stories on there. You have Londo and Mr. Morton parting ways. Is this the end of their relationship, business-wise? We don't know on that. Sheridan and Kosh seem to be have some sort of connection as well. Now we also have the new ship, the White Star. I mean, how much are we going to see in that in the next couple episodes? What will it be used for at that point? But the most important thing is, two of the most important things that we've gotten to see the the down below the dark half of Babylon 5, and the other half of it is the and that's what the bar and everything. That's what I mean by that.
What is the name of the bar? Did we catch that?
I didn't notice.
No, there was not no name given on it as of yet.
Yeah.
I think later on they do give it, if I'm not mistaken.
Something that nobody's pointed out yet, and Madman, this goes to your point about getting the White Star.
Mhm.
This is like over on DS9 where they got the Defiant.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Same kind of story beat.
Yeah, it's basically we've got a new ship. It's a it's a fast ship. It's a sleek ship. How will it protect them from the shadows? We'll wait to see. But here's the other issue that has to be brought up. Do we have a war on two fronts now? Because we have the shadows on one end, and what is going on back home on Earth? Mr. Morden is on Earth, meaning the shadows are there. How deep have the shadows infected Earth and the government, the Psi Corps, and everything there? So is Sheridan looking at a battle on two fronts?
One internal and one external.
One internal and one external. Yeah, exactly. Only time will tell as far as that, and we'll have to wait to see. 8.5 because of the fight on there. Obviously on there. Would have given it a 9 if the fight was better. But good start to the season. Everything technical and all that, all great and fantastic. And this is what we're to expect from season 3. All right,
Cam.
I think it's rickety for the reasons that some of the other guys have mentioned. It's kind of simplistic in some ways. It's like, well, this guy goes here, so you can do this, and da da da. And like Jason mentioned, the fight scene sucked, but the content was excellent. There was big stuff that happened in this episode right out of the gate. So I'm going to come in with like an 8 on this, even despite the little bits that weren't so great.
Yeah. Sorry, you done, Cam? Yeah.
Did you give a number?
Yeah. 8.
Yeah, it's 8.
So we're all pretty in league.
To the question of whether or not Sheridan's fighting on two fronts, I think ultimately it's the same war that he's going to be fighting.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily. I guess you can make the comparison of, on one side we're fighting Germany, on the other side we're fighting Japan, but they're two different aspects of the same war, same conflict. And the Japanese and the Germans weren't necessarily allies in the traditional sense, like you would think. I mean, they had an understanding, but I think maybe you've got the same thing here. The shadows are in both places. They've infiltrated, as far as whatever's going on with the Earth politics and the dynamics there. I think it's all going to be of a piece. It's all connected. It's the same conflict in both locations.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this episode. And it's for the reasons that we talked about, the cross threads crossing all over each other. I agree that the sets and all that, the background stuff, the scenes are all finally coming into they seem normal. They seem like a proper television show backdrops now. But so that's good. But I really enjoyed it because of all the cross threads going on and the little the extra things that are happening. It was full of content. The poor fight scene didn't really take away much from me because of all the other goodness content wise. So I enjoyed the episode. I give it an 8.5. One of my more, one of my better episodes, I think. Maybe top 10, top 5 so far. I really enjoyed it. Okay, awesome. What are we doing next? We got to do. Let's do the trivia questions real quick, and then we can guests will talk about what's coming up on their shows, and we'll be we'll end it on time. All right, here we go. Questions. I think we might have got most of these questions already. Question 1: what is the name of the planet with the Rangers training camp? I think we mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Near which race's homeworld did the White Star destroy the shadow vessel? Who is the last one to know anything around here? Meaning Babylon 5. Who says they missed? They never miss. And the last question, who never gets involved in his own life?
I think you brought that one up.
I think those ones are pretty
Yep.
pretty obvious. You should have got them all if you watched the show and listened to us. Yeah. All right. Let's start with Jeff. Jeff and then Jason. What's coming up on your show, buddy?
Well, this Sunday, before the Top Lofty Lounge, Cam and I are going to be doing episode 2 of the Bad News Bards on my channel, the Tennessee Tabletop Tavern. And we're going to be, we're going to kind of do a proper intro of ourselves and maybe discuss some stuff that's in the news on tabletop and OSR and all that fun stuff. And,
so Cam's doing a face reveal. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. He's
awesome. Cool.
He'll show you his true face. Won't you, Cam? Right?
Yes. That also comes under the $1 million guarantee.
Yes, $1 million. That's probably Canadian money, so it's not worth anything. But any rate, so check that out, and then immediately after that, of course, we'll tell everybody to go see Top Lofty Lounge. And
all right,
Cam's doing double duty on Sundays.
Jason, you had a little bit of a short show today.
I'm bouncing around. I'm in between doctor's visits and stuff, so our schedule is going to be a little sporadic. But I'll reiterate the Bad News Bards. It's a simulcast sometimes on our channel, and I'm not sure what our schedule is going to look like the next few days. But at some point we'll have number 1,000.
So, sometime in March, maybe.
We're pushing. I'd
pushing
like,
April.
I'd like for it to be March 23rd. I'm going to do my best to make that happen, but it's going to involve some Saturdays. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like now. But yeah.
Well, Jason, just simulcast with this show, and then you could pad your numbers.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll have Jason drop in on Sunday.
Except this isn't live from the bunker. It's a completely different show, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't count towards his numbers. I get you. But
I may have to incorporate guest hosts and say, just I'm not feeling it. You take the show today.
Yeah. Well, there's always April 1st to push for.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, we'll probably have a show tomorrow. We'll probably talk about the Scarlett Johansson news. And what was the other thing?
Don't forget about the
old man
Martha Sweeney.
Yeah, we got Sydney Sweeney stuff. We got John Chu, who's the director of Wicked. He just signed a big deal with Paramount, so he's changing camps. So we'll have some things to talk about tomorrow. It may not be a very long show, but we'll actually be talking news tomorrow. So, and I'm still collecting names, suggestions of people that we need to invite on as guests. So, you guys.
I gave you a list. Don't you remember those authors I gave you a list of?
Give me a few. I don't know where they was that in Discord? You sent me that?
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm collecting names now. We have sent an invitation to Claudia Black. And I will reach out to Sydney Sweeney's people, and we'll see what happens from there. And I did connect with Michael Sussman on Facebook, so I'm going to send him a note and see if I can get him on for a Deep Space Minds soon.
Yeah, cool.
So we'll see.
Madman.
Well, we are trying to fix a couple of things because YouTube is added it again. My channel's being attacked by YouTube on there, knocking my numbers on there. So there will be some changes coming in very soon. But Monday, Madman Cafe, live 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be also talking about some Batman news on there that's coming over on there. Scarlett Johansson. Also, we will be discussing Amazon is in deep trouble with Japan as they decided to use AI to dub certain anime titles, and they did a horrible job of it. I mean, it is the most horrendous thing that's ever done. Katakawa and several others are literally livid. They're ready.
AI isn't the be all end all.
Oh
my
no,
God.
no, they did the stuff they did was, oh my God, it's horrendous. I mean, there's an anime called Ghost Stories, which is like really bad. It was worse than that, you know. So we got that next week and a couple other stories we're working on as well.
Be Strong by Robot Brothers. Cam.
Hail Space King.
Other than the things that are already mentioned, we have Top Lofty Lounge on Sunday where we're doing something interesting.
Oh,
You don't sound very convincing.
That's because I'm not. Tell them what it is.
Okay, well, so we're gonna do. Well, I want to know if Space King released a teaser today. We're not sure. There's supposed to be a Space King something dropping on Saturday. I'm not sure if it's another episode or if it is another trailer or teaser or something. I mean, it's only been a month since the last Space King dropped. It's like 7 months between episodes, so I'm not sure if there is a Space King episode drops. I think we're gonna have to do that, Cam. Right? Like, I mean, we're gonna
Yes.
Yeah. And then because we're big fans. And if not, then we're going to do a deeper dive into the Planet of the Apes timeline. So I mean, we'll probably push the Planet of the Apes off to next week if Space King goes on. And of course, Cam has been doing his daily tool advent calendar, opening them up every day on the channel, and we're gonna have a summary of that on the Top Lofty Lounge of all the tools he came up, have some pictures, so talk about them a little bit. So probably tools and maybe Space King or some more Planet of the Apes stuff. If not, I mean, we'll put Planet of the Apes off, and of course Space. I mean, we will do Space King when it comes up for sure.
You didn't tell me they were shorts. I normally ignore shorts, so I was like,
they're shorts. So that's what we're doing. We do shorts every day. You get a short, right? You get to experience the joy that Cam feels when he opens up his.
I know. I went back and I watched him, and I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of cool.
They're great. And then, of course, on the show, we're going to summarize the ones that he opened in the last week.
When did he get the gloves?
About them a little bit like that. So yeah.
When did you get the gloves? I like those gloves.
I think I got those at Home Depot. Carries the Gorilla.
Show off the gloves too.
Yeah, they're great.
What else do we? Oh, I have to mention. Hey, we've got today. Our Madman is our guest host. Next week it's Dean. There are shows that are open. If anyone wants to be a guest host, hey, drop me a line in Discord or me or Cam in Discord or X or whatever. Say, hey, this episode's really cool. I want to come and be a guest host. And hey, you can come on and be a guest host, especially those regulars in the chat. I'm looking at you, PB, Weatherman, all you guys. Snugs, you want to jump in?
I'm trying to get some other folks on.
Anyone
too.
I forgot?
I'm hitting.
Oh yeah,
a whole bunch of people.
Jeff's working on that. Yeah, we'll get him in there for sure. So yeah. Let us know. Come on in. Did I miss anything, Cam?
No, I think that's about it.
Next week's on this show, episode 2.
Convictions.
What is it? Convictions. Yes, convictions. All right. Yeah.
Do we get to poke at plants?
You bet. If you want to,
we're going to poke the plants because the plants are religious. Now they're blessed.
Interesting idea, PB. We haven't done anything like that. I've seen the movie. We usually look at things that are a little older, but we will have a movie night coming up soon in a couple weeks or so. And I'm thinking about it, and I put up on Discord that our options you have to vote on. I'm thinking of 2 Corman movies, maybe Roger Corman. But anyway. All right, that's it for the show.
We saw one, didn't we?
Thanks for everybody for coming by and watching. Good night, and we'll see you next week.
Good night. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
And check out this new outro.